The morning sun rose gently over the quiet city, painting soft gold across shop windows and pavements, when a single trembling moment shattered the ordinary rhythm of the day. Outside an elegant bakery known for its lavish displays and delicate desserts, a worn-looking man with tired eyes stood holding the small hand of his pale little daughter, the weight of the world pressing down on his hunched shoulders as he gathered the courage to ask for something no parent should ever have to ask for. His voice carried desperation and love in equal measure, a silent plea that spoke of sleepless nights, empty cupboards, and a heart breaking quietly for a child who still believed birthdays were magical. Inside the bakery, surrounded by polished marble counters and glass cases glowing with perfection, a wealthy businessman named Kabir Khanna paused mid-step as those words reached his ears, striking something deep within him that money had never managed to touch. If you believe in kindness and second chances, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to the channel Light of Kindness, because stories like this remind us that humanity still breathes beneath the noise of the world. The man was Ariz Malhotra, once a hard-working mechanic who had lost everything when his small workshop burned down and debts swallowed whatever remained of his dignity, leaving him to navigate life with nothing but courage and love for his daughter, Meher, whose 7th birthday had arrived under the harsh light of reality instead of candles and balloons. Her fragile smile and hopeful eyes were the only reason he woke up each morning. It was daytime, and the bakery buzzed with quiet luxury as well-dressed customers admired towering cakes adorned with roses and shimmering layers, a world far removed from Ariz's threadbare jacket and dusty shoes. Kabir Khanna, a man used to calculating profit margins and closing multi-million-dollar deals before noon, found himself strangely rooted to the spot as he watched the scene unfold, noticing the way Meher clung to her father, as if he was her entire universe, her thin braids slightly frayed but neatly tied, her small face lit with a hopeful glow despite everything. There was no drama, no raised voices, just the heavy silence of a man swallowing his pride for the sake of his child, and the quiet observation of a millionaire who had forgotten what raw sincerity looked like until this very moment. Kabir followed them with his eyes as Ariz slowly entered the bakery, his gaze fixed on the lower shelves where unsold items rested, not daring to even glance at the gleaming masterpieces meant for celebrations far grander than he could imagine. The staff whispered uneasily, unsure whether pity or discomfort settled over them, but Kabir lifted his hand gently, signaling them to remain calm, his expression unusually soft. He observed every detail, the way Ariz's fingers trembled slightly as he pointed to a simple, slightly imperfect cake tucked away, the way Meher smiled as though it were a treasure from a fairy tale, and the way the man's lips quivered when he explained his circumstances with quiet honesty. Daylight filtered through the tall windows, casting a warm glow over the scene, as if even the sun paused to listen. Memories surfaced within Kabir, memories of a childhood he had buried beneath success, of a time when his own mother stretched pennies and hoped to give him something small that felt enormous, and suddenly the walls of his expensive world felt hollow and cold. Kabir stepped forward, his polished shoes echoing softly against the tiled floor, and offered a gesture that went far beyond compassion as he instructed the staff to prepare a fresh, beautiful cake decorated with soft pastel flowers and Meher's name delicately written in icing, and to include candles, ribbons, and a small gift bag filled with treats. Ariz stood frozen, disbelief clouding his tired features, while Meher's eyes widened in pure joy. Her face, radiating sunlight brighter than anything the city skyline could reflect. The moment was not about charity but about dignity, about reminding a struggling father that his love still mattered and his fight still had meaning. Outside, the streets buzzed with afternoon life, vendors calling out and birds fluttering past bright rooftops, while inside the bakery, two very different worlds collided and changed forever. Kabir did not announce his generosity. He simply placed a hand over his heart in silent understanding, a recognition that human connection was the truest form of wealth he had nearly forgotten. As Aris and Meher stepped back into the daylight holding the carefully boxed cake, their faces illuminated with renewed hope, Kabir felt something shift within his own soul, a quiet awakening that challenged years of emotional distance and relentless ambition. He watched them walk away hand in hand, the little girl skipping lightly beside her father, humming a tune only she understood, while he stood still, realizing that one kind act had filled a void no luxury could reach. Days later, Kabir found himself searching for Aris, driven by curiosity and a desire to understand the man who had unknowingly reminded him of his humanity. And when he finally located the modest home where father and daughter lived, he saw resilience carved into every corner, from the patched walls to the proud smile of a man who refused to let despair define his child's life. Sunlight streamed into the small room, revealing sketches Meher had drawn of cakes and bright gardens, simple dreams fueled by love rather than wealth. Kabir offered Aris an opportunity, not as a savior but as a believer, helping him rebuild his workshop and regain his independence, praising his determination and respecting his effort instead of reducing him to a symbol of hardship. Over time, their lives intertwined with trust and gratitude, and Meher's laughter returned in full, filling the air with a melody that echoed beyond poverty and pain. The city continued its rhythm, days unfolded under bright blue skies, and a story that began with quiet desperation transformed into one of renewal and dignity. If this journey of compassion and unexpected grace has touched your heart, please show your support by liking, sharing, commenting, and subscribing to Light of Kindness, because your engagement keeps these stories of hope alive and spreading. Special request: comment kindness, still lives if this moment moved you. And as the sun dipped gently lower across the horizon, casting soft shadows that danced across the streets and memories alike, one truth remained clear and unwavering, that even the smallest act of understanding can ripple through lives and rewrite destinies, leaving behind not just a cake or a gesture, but a legacy of compassion that blooms in the light of genuine humanity.